I used to think I was bad at discipline. Turns out I was just bad at goals. So there I was, standing in my kitchen, covered in a fine layer of flour and shame. It was 11:57 p.m. on a random October night. My goal, set exactly 1 year prior, had been to become a person who bakes their own bread. A noble pursuit, the kind of thing that makes you look like you have your life together. And for the following 3 nights, I was that person. I had sourdough starter. I named it Clint Yeastwood. I had a fancy apron. Then, on day 4, Clint Yeastwood died, murdered by neglect. I placed him in the evidence drawer, the one with the dead AA batteries and takeout menus. And I never baked bread again. This wasn't a failure. This was a pattern. My life was a graveyard of beautiful, shiny, unachieved goals. Run a marathon. The training shoes became a very expensive doorstop. Learn French. Bonjour is still pretty much the extent of my fluency. Read 50 books. I bought the books. They looked great on the shelf. Very intellectual. I was a goal setter, and I was miserable at it. Every December 31st, I wasn't celebrating. I was conducting a funeral for the person I'd failed to become. The turning point wasn't in a self-help book. It was in my friend's garage. His name is Mike, and he is, by all accounts, the most boringly effective person I know. Mike had decided he wanted to build a dining room table, a big live-edge slab thing. Now, Mike is not a carpenter, he's an accountant. I went over to his garage one Tuesday night, expecting to see a half-finished monstrosity, maybe a bandaged finger or two. But there it was, a fully finished, gorgeous, gleaming table. I was stunned. Mike, this is incredible. How did you do this? You must have worked on it every single day for weeks. Mike shrugged and said, Nah, just Tuesdays. Tuesdays? Yeah, Tuesday is shop night, from 7 to 9 p.m. Some Tuesdays I just sanded one board for 2 hours. Some Tuesdays I assembled a joint. One Tuesday I just sharpened my chisels and listened to a baseball game. I didn't really build a table, I just showed up in the garage on Tuesdays. And that's when the flour-dusted penny dropped. Mike didn't achieve his goal because he was obsessed with the table. He achieved it because he was committed to the Tuesday. He had built a system, and I had been building a graveyard. So I threw out my goals, all of them. I instituted what I now call the Tuesday principle. And it boils down to 3 systems. The same 3 systems that took Mike from accountant to artisan, and me from a flour-covered failure to, well, someone who finally gets things done. System 1, the anchor, or how I stopped being a sloth before breakfast. My first system had to be something so simple, so non-negotiable, that even on my worst day I could do it. My version of Tuesday had to be daily. My anchor became the first 10 minutes. The rule was brutal. Within 10 minutes of my feet hitting the floor, I had to be dressed in workout clothes and out the door for a walk. No phone, no coffee, just me and the quiet morning. The goal version was get ripped. The system version was survive the first 10 minutes. Some days the walk was a power walk, full of vigor and purpose. Most days, it was a slow, grumpy trudge where I mentally complained about everything. But I did it. The system held. And something funny happened. That tiny win, that small act of following through before my brain was even fully online, set a tone. It built a tiny, daily foundation of self-trust. I was no longer a person trying to be disciplined. I was a person who took a walk every morning. The identity shifted. The goal was irrelevant. System 2, the progress engine, or how I wrote a book without meaning to. I always wanted to write a book, a terrifying monolithic goal. So I applied the Tuesday principle. I wasn't allowed to write a book. I was only allowed to do my writing Tuesday, which for me was daily. The rule was 1 notepad, 1 pen, 10 minutes. That's it. I couldn't open my laptop. That was for real writers. I just had to scribble in a cheap notepad for 10 minutes. Some days I wrote a single terrible sentence. Other days I'd get a paragraph. One day I just wrote, I have nothing to say, over and over again until the timer went off. But I did it. The system was a success. I wasn't writing a book. I was just filling a notepad. Then another. Then another. After about 4 months of this, I had a stack of notepads. I typed it all up just to see what I had. You know what it was? It was a 30,000 word first draft. I had accidentally written half a book by just being boringly consistent for 10 minutes a day. The progress engine doesn't care about your inspiration. It just consumes time and effort, and eventually, it spits out a result. System 3, the weekly triage, or how I learned to stop the Sunday night panic. Life has a habit of happening. Even with my anchor and my progress engine, things would slip. The Sunday night dread was a constant. So I stole Mike's Tuesday concept again, but for logistics. I created Sunday session. Every Sunday, I give myself 20 minutes with a cup of coffee and a piece of paper. I do two things. First, I look back. Did my anchor and progress engine run? If not, why? The answer is usually, I was being an idiot and stayed up too late. Second, I look forward. I block out time for my anchors and my progress sessions for the week. Then, I write down the top 3 life admin tasks that are haunting me. Oil change, call dentist, defeat the mold monster in the shower. This isn't a fancy planner. It's a triage unit. I'm not planning a perfect week. I'm just identifying the landmines and drawing a map around them. This 20-minute session is what keeps the other 2 systems from being derailed by the chaos of being an adult. So, that's it. The graveyard of goals is closed for business. I don't have goals anymore. I have Tuesdays, I have my first 10 minutes, I have my 10-minute notepad. You don't achieve the grand dramatic thing by focusing on the grand dramatic thing. You achieve it by falling in love with the boring, the daily, the repetitive. You achieve it by building a system so simple that even on your worst day, you can't not do it. Stop trying to build the table. Just show up in the garage every Tuesday. Please like, share, and subscribe to be a part of the community. We post a new video every Monday. See you in the next one.